I
See?
love it.
Alright, let's see. Transitioning over. And there we are. Okay. So, hello, ladies. Long time no see. You
Right.
can't see me because awkwardness. Um, but thank you so much for coming on this segment of my stream because side projects are fun and try to keep me busy. Um, so the show theme is Cognizance. It's trying to gain awareness of different perspectives in life because not everybody knows 100% what everyone's facts are, and I want to know what your facts are for your life. With the topic of distance learning for children. Angie, you are my sister. I love you. Mwah. Your pregos with my Alana Celeste. And you're going to be a mother. You're a school psychologist, so you're gearing up for this. They're probably messing with you right now, and I love it. And Sabra, you're a mother of four. You are a badass. I love you so much. You're hilarious. And I know it can be a struggle sometimes with distance learning with four children. And like you said, I think you mentioned to me the other day that you sometimes you'll have like other kids over for distance learning. Is that correct? Yeah.
I'm hoping that that'll be the plan because it will kind of help to keep me in order.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
will kind of hold me accountable because, you're one way with your own kids, but you're totally different with other people's kids. So it's like, all right, I'll be on my best behavior because I have other people's kids looking at me.
Yeah, yeah, okay, and that's definitely a strategy in this time. It's a weird time where we have to use these weird strategies to get through things that were something that we didn't really think about beforehand. Um, so Sabra, go ahead, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you love most about motherhood? Just go at it. Tell me about you. What do you want to tell me and the street?
Well, today it's the best day to be able to talk about how much I love motherhood.
I love
you know, uh,
Don't
I
scare me, girl. Don't
All
scare me.
well, right now I have my niece's kids that are in town visiting for they've been here for almost 3 weeks, and I think they'll be here for another like week and a half,
Mhm.
and they are little.
Okay.
So right now I have 6 kids. They are 10, 9, 8, 6, 3, and 18 months. So my 3-year-old nephew woke up last night and he's just he like it seemed like he was scared awake and like he couldn't breathe. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
He's like rubbing his nose and I'm like, ugh, you're sick. Oh, this is gross. Oh my god. So he won't, he doesn't want to be soothed, but he wants to be soothed, and he's wiping his snot all over my shirt. And I'm like, don't touch me, but at the same time, please don't cough. Like he's trying to cuddle with me, and I'm like, don't throw up. Please don't throw up. Don't throw up. Like you can do literally anything that you want to do right now, just don't throw up. So that was at 3 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
And I've got, anxiety from that,
Mhm.
anxiety because just a lot of things have been happening,
Yeah.
like just outside that don't have to do with me as a mother, but have to do with other mothers. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of an empath. So I feel for a lot of people and I take on a lot of people's feelings. So when everybody else is stressed, I'm stressed too.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, the kids wake up and I'm like, dude, I can't send them because usually I send them to daycare so I can get my own mental break.
Yeah, of course.
But I can't send them now because my nephew was sniffling. So I'm like, all right, well, y'all could just stay home, but you're going to clean.
Yeah.
And, having to have them social distance within the house is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. But that's just what's happened in the last 18 hours.
Woo.
12 hours, really.
Yeah.
But overall, I really enjoy being a mom because it's cool seeing little humans that they kind of look to you for guidance.
Yeah.
And because I'm a teacher, so it's the same thing when I teach my students. When they get it,
Mm-hmm.
and they start doing things for themselves, like that's a really awesome feeling, because you're like, I taught them that.
Yeah.
I taught them that. And so, you know, you see your babies and you love them because they're so unique. They're coming into their own, but at the same time, they recognize things that you've taught them and they can utilize that in their lives. But they, you know, if you teach your kids to be independent, then they can kind of take it and spin it and, you know, interpret it their own way. And so me, I don't want to say that I'm a different type of mom, because I am a mom, but I've only birthed one child. I was a foster parent first. And so I have 3 little girls that I'm in the process of adopting that I've had since they were babies.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just seeing babies that are, you know, kids that are not even biologically related to you, but are exactly like you.
Yeah.
And see your personality and your quips and your little tings and everything, like you see that through your kids. It's a weird feeling,
Yeah.
but it's also awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of like really silly, lighthearted discussions with children. I like that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because hearing their opinion and having them be able to formulate opinions based on different things, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I used to be a day camp counselor, so I would hear things they say and have these conversations, and I'm like,
the good old days.
All right. So I know you touched on the challenges of the stay-at-home order and being a mother in general, all within the past 12, 18 hours. So during this time, what has helped you during this time to keep the sanity of yourself?
Well. A lot of people would say that they've found sanity or relaxation in watching TV. I watch the same shows over and over and over again, but I
Full House, baby, Full House.
Love it. I've been watching Living Single. So, you know, I enjoy that, but I create. So I've been doing a lot of things with my hands. I've been crocheting, I've been sewing, I've been making jewelry. I've started silversmithing. Not so much cooking, because when I get really stressed or anxious, I tend to not eat.
Yeah.
Like I do eat, but like I don't eat. So like I'll eat 5 pounds of gummy bears, but then like someone will be like, "Hey, I need this food," and I'll be like, "No."
Yeah.
Gummy bears.
I understand that struggle.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of crocheting, or at least trying to. I've been pinning a lot of things and looking at a lot of things, because, you know, I have lots of little nieces and nephews on the way.
Yeah.
So I've been doing things to stay busy in that sense. And I think the kids they like it too. So I've kind of worked with them a little bit on crocheting and jewelry making as well.
That's awesome.
But sometimes the best way to stay sane is to run away.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes you need your little getaways.
Yeah, thank God I have my mom with me, because I can be like, "Mom, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
I'll be back." And she's like, "All right, cool." You know, and it's not even a let me know what time. It's
like, all right, go do what you
wash
need to
your
do.
hands while you're out. Can you grab this? And it's like, all right, cool. It's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Taco Bell, and I have 2 Taco Bells within like a 1.5-mile radius.
Oh wow!
I choose to drive 30 miles to Taco Bell in Poway. It gives me time so that I can just, you know, sit and like kind of reset.
Yeah. Perfect.
Definitely staying busy, but also kind of checking out too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely awesome. Angie, so
What up?
hi. Tell me about yourself. Being a school psychologist. What do you enjoy most about being a psychologist? School psychologist.
Boy. No, there's lots to be thankful for when being a school psychologist. Just a little bit about myself. I'm your sister. I'm tall. I'm a tall Mexican,
Yep.
which is really rare, but that's okay.
It's wonderful though. I love that.
Oh, yeah, I don't have difficulties at concerts or anything. It's fine. I can
Right,
reach the top shelf, no
exactly.
problem. I can change my own light bulb, whatever it may be.
Love it. Love it.
So, I'm expecting my own little Amazonian princess here
I
in a little while.
love it. So exciting.
But yeah, I am a school psychologist, and I am a school psychologist in the Bay Area. I've been here, oh my gosh, 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
7 years in the Bay Area. Trying to find a job just after the recession and things like that is a little challenging. So I had to expand my horizons and leave Southern California. So, yeah, I've been a school psychologist for 7 years, and it's got its ups and downs, just like any job.
Yeah.
I think people don't know what a school psychologist is, what they do, if they even exist at like their children's schools and things like that.
Yeah.
Every school, every district, every school has a school psychologist.
Okay.
Whether how much time they're spending on campus, it varies.
Okay.
So I have a junior high school and an elementary school that I split my time with. And the school psychologists mainly work, like we wear a bunch of different hats, but they mainly work in the special education department.
Okay.
So we're the ones that do the testing for kids to determine whether they have some type of disability where they need special education services, because that disability affects their progress in the general education arena.
Okay.
And they differ than their like peers in that department, and they need special services for that. So we're the ones that do a lot of the testing. So we're in meetings, we get countless emails, we work with parents, teachers, students, advocates, attorneys, therapists.
Busy.
And it literally, if you're not good at multitasking, you will drown.
Yeah.
You will drown, and you got to learn your own boundaries with like taking your work home and answering emails outside of work time and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
it's definitely been a learning process over the last 7 years. I think I'm getting it down a little bit better now, and definitely with lots of good coaching around me.
Yeah.
It's been good, but you never know what you're going to get each day when you come to work.
That's true.
And whether it's going to be the most amazing day and you get so many hugs from all your little kids, and everyone knows who I am. I'm Miss Angie.
Yeah.
And so the kids call me Miss Angie, and they know I love basketball. And so like if they do good on their spelling test, I always ask Miss Angie, can we go play basketball? I got 100% on my spelling test. I'm like, yeah, that's why I have my sneakers under my desk and stuff. And so we go play basketball and stuff. And I'm definitely the kind of person that likes to be a part of the school community. So I enjoy that.
That's wonderful.
Social skills, groups, things like that. It's so many different things that we do.
Yeah.
And it's hard to pinpoint, but we work under special ed, and I love the kids. I don't ever find a child to be the problem in situations. They are just a product of whatever environment and experiences they come from, and I love them for who they are, and I try to meet them where they are.
Definitely. So. Yeah.
So lots of ups and downs.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs. Obviously both of you revolve around your children. As a school psychologist, they're basically your children too. Like trying to help them along their way in life.
I always say my kids.
Yeah.
I always say my kids, my kiddos, my boy, my girl.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
When one little girl calls me her bestie, like she's my bestie. I'm like,
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it definitely has. I have like a lot of little brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Oh, that's so precious. And good prep for motherhood.
Oh yeah, I've learned quite a few things of what what traits I want to instill in my child.
Yeah.
Like what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you see
How to
it,
go about doing that might be a little challenging, but like
you
the
kind of
kind of
know what
person
you
I want
want.
my child to be,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, correct. So during these stay-at-home orders, how has that affected your profession, Angie? How has that? Obviously, you meet with children to test them, but during this time with the stay-at-home orders, what's going on? What's going on with your
We're
profession?
at a 100% standstill on that
Oh wow.
because, yeah, and it's so I had, before we went to the shelter in place, springtime is peak time.
Okay.
Okay. That's when all the kids that you've been working with, you know, your special ed teachers, your gen ed teachers, all the interventions you've been providing to all these children
Hmm.
to see if they can make it in the general education setting before we go into special education,
Hmm.
we determine that it works or it doesn't work for them. So
Okay.
if it doesn't work for them, we then go into testing. So the spring is peak time to do that.
Okay.
And with the shelter in place happening just at the start of spring, or you know,
Ooh.
in the beginning of that, like in March, what, mid-March, early March,
Yeah.
while the virus was actually kind of happening since December, November,
Hmm.
um, we've been at a halt. And I want to say close to like 15 assessments that I have yet to complete from last year. And
Oh.
then this year we have, you know, more due dates start coming up for kids that were in special ed and think
Hmm.
that are in special ed, and they need reevaluations and everything. So it's like the work is compiling
Yeah.
without us being able to do anything
Yeah.
from the physical standpoint. And the way our tests are designed, it is face to face.
Correct.
And you know, the California mandate is we cannot do that, you
Yeah.
know. So um, our the school psychologists in our district, we're just trying to find creative ways to support the kids, support the teachers,
Hmm.
support, you know, whoever needs support if we can't do that primary duty that we're supposed to have.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've been at a complete standstill when it comes to that stuff. So
Okay.
we're all a little bit nervous
Of course. Of course.
about what that's gonna how big that snowball is gonna get.
Yes, exactly. And then it all of a sudden, all of it needs to start happening. You know, all these kids
Right.
need the assessments and the your confirmations and then the meetings. Yeah. So that's definitely a very scary thing.
Ultimately our job, we work off of deadlines, but you know, at this
Hmm.
point deadlines are kind of up in the air now. But
Yeah.
really, when you think about the bigger picture, is that the longer the kids go without services, the longer their kind of that educational gap is happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so that's really the bigger picture, is like, if I can't get to these kids, you know, then I
Yeah.
can't get them the services that they may need.
Correct. Correct. Um, Sabra, as a mother, how do you feel about the distance learning as a safety measure for the school system? Do you believe there is a better way, especially from your standpoint? Is there something that they could do better, or how do you feel about all this?
Well, from an elementary school standpoint, it's hard
Mhm.
because I have children that are all different ages.
Correct.
So I have three that are in elementary school and one that's going to start middle school this year.
Oh wow.
I
She's that
firmly
old?
believe,
I
yeah,
know. When
going
did that
into sixth
happen?
grade,
When did this
sixth
happen?
grade,
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
Sorry, I didn't mean
Okay.
to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I was shocked too.
It's insane. It's insane. She she really wants her middle school experience, and I get that. I totally get that, and I want her to have it too because it's totally different, and it
Yeah.
gives you a sense of maturity and growing up and all that stuff. But elementary school distance education, I personally feel, is the best for them because kids are gross. Kids
Yeah.
are gross. Kids are gross. And kids are gross. Like my friend was talking about the other day how one of my kids literally like coughed in his mouth. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure the child it was a baby when it happened.
Yeah.
But still, my 6-year-old son,
Mhm.
he's a hugger.
Yeah.
And so for him to be in school going, okay, you have to stay 6 feet away. You have to wear your mask. You can't touch your friends. You can't share crayons. You can't give me hugs. No high fives, no handshakes, no nothing. You cannot do that. It's literally impossible to tell my 6-year-old child that he can't hug his friends, that he can't hug his teacher, that he can't do whatever. For my girls, it's different, but they still forget, you know, because they want to do cartwheels and they want to flip and they want to just touch everything. Like when you go to the store with your kids and you tell them not to touch anything, the first thing they do is they go and they touch and they want to scrape the side walls.
Yes.
They want to put their hands on it. I'm like, can you stop? Can you not?
Yeah.
Like, they're licking doors now, dude, just because they're bored, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys need to stay at home.
Yeah.
But for my 6th grader, for kids that have different periods of the day, I think a block schedule would work for them. They staggered it out. I mean, I have always said that the education system needs reform because not everybody is a morning person. And not everybody wants to be in school from 7 a.m. until 2 or from 9 until 3.
Yeah.
You know, so if they had made it, and I'm a big dreamer, okay?
Yeah.
Huge.
Good dream, girl, dream. It's good to have your dreams.
If they made it so that children could go to school at the same time as there are jobs that are available in the day, it would be easier because some parents work graveyard shifts. You're not going to leave your kids at home if you have to work overnight. But at the same time, if there was school that started at like 7 p.m. and went to like midnight, that'd be legit. Some people are not morning people.
Yeah,
you know?
That's where they'll thrive sometimes.
You know? And so it would be kind of cool if there was a sense of like different shifts where kids could be on campus at different times.
Yeah.
Have it like 1, 3, and 5. If you're A through M, 1, 3, and 5, you meet on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 until 12.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's like a 2-hour sanitation, and then from like 3 to 7, M through Z, 1, 3, and 5, you know, whatever. That, in an ideal situation,
yes, of course,
I think could work. But in the meantime, in between time, block schedule, I think would work as long as the classes were smaller and shorter.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, I think that if there was a sense of less time on campus, and I'm talking for like older students that know, so you know, maybe 6th grade to 12th grade, I think that it would be nice to have it so that the students were at home 3 days and then at school still on that block schedule for 2 days, but not everybody on campus and everybody off campus. It's like, okay, these people are these days and these people
like segmented.
Utilize all 5 days because the teachers need a break, but at the same time the students need a break or a reset, and it'll increase productivity. It's, you know, it's kind of like homeschooling. Not all homeschooling is done at home 100% of the time. They check in maybe once a week to get new assignments, to you know, whatever. And I think that could work. But in the meantime, in between time, social, like distance learning, the only problem I see with it is that there are some parents that can't teach.
Yeah.
And there are some parents that don't have the ability to teach because they still have to work.
Definitely.
So, you know, and we don't have a sense of community where you can just call up your friend like, hey, you know, can you tutor my kids? Can my kids go to the same school? Can we all kind of do a swap or something? You know?
Like working together with your community to be able to keep your kids learning and thriving.
People don't even care about getting to know their neighbors these days. So how are you going to just randomly drop your kids off with someone, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That definitely makes sense. Angie, when it comes to the accessibility and access of online distance learning, what issues do you think may arise or have arisen during this distance learning that you may have observed?
There's a lot that could be said about distance learning.
Yeah, definitely. Hmm.
I think there are so many different challenges that the traditional school system, when they have to just jump into a new way of teaching,
Hmm.
there's going to be problems. There's going to be a lot of complications.
Yeah.
I don't want to say distance learning is like poo poo or whatever,
Yeah.
things like that. There are definitely programs and systems out there that make it work,
Hmm.
that make it work. Um, but for the traditional school setting to just up and do that in off the drop of a hat, it's really challenging. When it comes to like the student's ability just to even access online learning, there's a lot. There's a lot of difficulties with that.
Yeah.
Um, I work in a Title I school district.
Hmm.
So a lot of my kiddos and their families have nothing more than like a cell phone
Yeah.
as part of their technology in their home, you
Correct.
know? So it's really dang near impossible to do online learning on a cell phone, things
Yeah.
like that. So, we've been having to try to, check out laptops and,
Hmm.
different companies are offering like free Wi-Fi and all that because, there could be families that just don't have that stuff.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
what my school district did.
Oh yeah.
exactly. So,
Hmm.
just to access distance learning alone is challenging, let alone like fulfilling online learning,
Yeah.
distance learning.
Exactly.
That's those two separate things that
Hmm.
go together hand in hand. But
And
so again,
the school district, the laptops that they have, you're basically on the school system's internet too.
Yeah.
So with everyone being on the same thing, like there's a lot of technical crashes that happen.
Yeah.
mhm,
And there's a lot of things that you just can't help because you're on the school's security, websites and access
right,
points and all of
or
that
there's
stuff too.
different blocks or
Hmm.
or
Mhm.
act restrictions and things like that, and there's some uh, situations where those um, privileges have been abused,
Yeah. Hmm.
in terms of like, trying to help you access online learning,
Yeah.
but it's not really it's not really utilized the way it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
So, from my viewpoint of where I work, it's a real challenge for families just to have the tools
Yeah.
available to them to even access the virtual classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where it
And
all begins and starts. Um,
okay.
Sabra, have your children been using distance learning since the stay at home? How receptive have they been to the distance learning? How have they, soaked in that information?
You know, at
Mhm.
first I thought it was going to be insane
Yeah.
because I have 4 children, 4 different grades, 4 different learning personalities, 4 different approaches to everything.
Hmm.
So at first I thought it was going to be insane, but at the same time, I liked learning,
Yeah.
didn't like homework. So there was that, like I don't let them know that I graduated with a C average because I didn't like doing homework. I tell them that you try your best in everything that you do, and if
Hmm.
you provide active efforts, then whatever grade you get, you're good.
Yeah.
What I found is that my children thrived
Hmm.
because they were able to have one-on-one help.
Okay.
But my son, he's the youngest.
Yeah.
He was bored, but he was also thriving because his teacher, now that she had the time to really organize her curriculum and personalize it for each student,
Hmm.
she was able to give him more advanced work. So when he was in school, he was in trouble every day. And he was in trouble every day because he wasn't focused, he was playing around, he was interrupting and all this stuff. But, you know, a week or two into distance learning, she goes, hey, do you want him to have more challenging homework? Because, you know, in kindergarten, we're looking at counting 20, and Mason is adding and subtracting up to 20. He's not learning to count to 20. He's past that.
Yeah.
Started giving him first grade work, and he started focusing.
Yeah.
And I was mad at first because I was like, why didn't you do this in the beginning of the school year when I asked you to give him more challenge? Like, I picked you as his teacher because I knew that you were going to challenge him. And you waited until March to actually challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was that. But I also have a daughter who was the opposite. She thrived in school, or so we thought, because her teacher never had a problem with her. She was always super helpful. She got her work done, or so we thought. And then we found out that she wasn't actually retaining anything. And so she wasn't getting the help that she needed, because like she would read a book and do the assignment, and I'd be like, oh, well, what was the book about? I don't know. Well, did you read it? Yeah. Well, if you read it, then you should be able to tell. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
So we had to kind of do the opposite with her, where we had to have her really sit and do a lot of one-on-one things where I'm working with her and having her do repetition so that she can, you know, try and remember things.
Yeah.
You know, and then I have one daughter who you think, because she was one that was like, oh, I already did everything. I already did it. And I was like, no, you didn't. Like, I know you.
Yeah.
You take forever to pick up a piece of trash off the ground. No, you didn't. And so I emailed her teacher, and she's like, yeah, she's like one of the only ones that ever turns in all of her work. And I go, oh. Okay. Cool. So, you know, the best part though was that my oldest daughter, she's always had lots of anxiety when it came to doing her work, because she has this thing where she has to get it right. She has to get it right the first time. And I go, well, if you get it right the first time, you're not learning. And so if you don't get it right, then that's your having the opportunity to learn. So then we found out, because I had been telling her since she was in third grade that she should memorize her times tables.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to. And she didn't want to write them down. And she didn't want to get the chart. And she didn't want to look at the chart. And she didn't want to fit. So it got to the point where I was like, well, you don't understand what you're doing because you didn't take the steps that you need in order to understand these things. So let's start at the beginning. Write down your times tables. And if you need something that has times tables, you have it right there in front of you. Like, put it right in front of your face. And so then she wrote down her times tables, and now she's kind of understanding. And so then I would help her with her math, and it's went from me going, it's time to work on math, and her throwing a tantrum, to her going, okay, Mom, let me get my paper. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I go, okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to try it. And if you don't understand it, you come back and you ask me exactly what you need. Don't just say I need help.
Yeah.
Say, I need you to do exactly this.
That side eye.
So baby started crying.
Yeah.
Mom went running, and apparently the little one fell off the couch.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But, you know, motherhood, it never stops. It never stops, definitely.
Ultimately speaking, my fifth grader was able to understand and retain her work. And now when it comes to math, she's like, I got this, Mom. I'm gonna, like, when I get done, I'll show you. If I need help, I'll let you know, but I think I got it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So it was really good for her because she was able to get one-on-one work. She had Zoom meetings, and then like tutor meetings, and then one-on-one meetings with teachers. And then, you know, like, it was really, really good for her.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, you know, like, every child is different, every person is different, and they thrive in different situations. And, you know, you just showed that that's definitely true with all your kids. Yeah. Angie, are you worried that the students won't get proper instruction, that they need to thrive in distance learning environment?
All the time.
I'm 100% worried about that.
Yeah.
All the time, especially for my kids. I'm talking my students
Yeah,
with
yeah,
special
yeah.
needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like I said before, not to say that distance learning cannot change um, students from having that light bulb turn on or
Yeah.
being more engaged or things like that. But for our kids, many kids with special needs, um, they need that direct contact. They need that explicit instruction and that
Yeah.
broken down level of instruction that realistically there's no time in the classroom to give all consistently,
Correct.
as much as they need.
Yeah.
So their time receiving special education services, some kids really, benefit and improve with those services. Some kids are kind of,
Mm-hmm.
like a little slower uphill climb, and
Yeah.
some kids are stagnant. And so when you take away the ability to really work explicitly with those kids on their academic skills,
Mm-hmm.
it's worrisome just to think where they're going to fall with their skill sets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do We do the best that we can. I just tell my teachers, you have to do the best that you can
Yeah.
with it, and we're going to try to reach our kids as best as possible through distance learning. I don't know consistently yet how that's going to look like in our district.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I know for me in particular, it's really reaching out to the parents and kind of checking in to see for like those high flyer kids that I have,
Yeah.
checking in and see how that's going. But that's a constant worry for, I think,
Yeah.
a lot of people
Of
that work
course.
in education
Yeah. When I
and who
mentioned
don't
the
work in
question.
education. So.
Yeah, exactly. When I mentioned that question to both of you, your faces were like, "Yep, mm-hmm, that's a huge worry." I think it's safe to say that the world was not prepared to switch to something that we're very unfamiliar with. Working
Which
with that
puts
whole
things in
distance.
perspective. It
Mm-hmm.
puts things in perspective on how we do things. Like we need to go above and beyond with the normal standards of teaching.
Correct.
It,
And I'm not saying putting more demands on teachers.
No, of course.
I'm
no, no,
saying
no.
finding other ways to be able to effectively teach when things like this shut us down,
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't all land on educators.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I,
Of course.
being that I, as of right now, for the next, like, what, 3 months? Are we at the 90-day countdown now? Like, uh, being is that I'm right now the only mom in this room,
Mm-hmm.
in our meeting.
Yeah.
Like I said, are we at the 90-day countdown? So, there's that. We There's a lot that falls on parents as well. There are
Yeah.
so many parents that rely on school for daycare, for guidance,
Yeah.
for just basic education, for uh, reasoning and understanding, for
Mm-hmm.
social skills. They rely on that for everything. And so for your kids to be now at home around you all day, you have to actually step your game up and be like, yes. And there's so
Yeah.
many parents that are quick to give the teachers strife for what they're trying to teach. I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you how many parents that I know that are so against Common Core math,
Yeah.
and they're just, I refuse to teach it. I refuse to learn it. I refuse to work with the teachers on this and this and this. And it's like, counterproductive right now.
Right.
And we need you to understand that no, Common Core math is not, and this is my opinion. Common Core math was taught to us. It was just like they flipped it.
Yeah.
So what they did now, we all learned that if you have 546, that's 500 plus 40 plus
Mm-hmm.
6. We all learned that.
Yeah.
But instead of our teachers breaking it down, we just go, okay, 546 is written like this. You say it like this. Don't put the and.
Yeah.
Just 546.
Yeah.
Okay? And the way that it is because it is.
Yeah.
Now they flipped it, so it's like, okay, we have this and we have this, and they really break it down for the kids, and it enables you to be able to tell why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and for parents to not only not be okay with the fact that the teachers are breaking things down nowadays, but they don't want to even try to help the educators teach.
Yeah.
That's counterproductive.
Exactly.
You know, and it doesn't make sense that there are so many parents that are ready and willing to send their kids back to school,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of does because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, parents are relying on their teachers to teach their kids everything.
Yeah.
When really, as parents, we should be starting and instilling whatever we have in our kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The confidence that your kids have in math, it should come from you. And I'm not saying that you have to be a math expert, but you have to be able to tell your kid that they can do this.
Yeah, you have to be that support system. It can't just be like, here, learn this. Okay, go at it. It's like, no, here, you can do it. Like, I believe in you. You know, that support systems are so, you know, I mean, for everybody needs a support system. There is one more topic I do want to touch on for Angie. Do you think, you know, with this new method of learning, will this bring rise to new methods of testing for school psychologists to use? Does this open the door to more things that need to be addressed for the present and the future?
I think that's something that's been on the trend
Mm-hmm.
even before COVID.
Okay.
Online testing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's challenging. I want to say digital testing.
Okay.
I don't want to say online testing.
Okay.
Digital testing where there's now the iPads.
Okay.
And the kids are swiping or touching the iPads and things like that. But I think it still requires a level of face-to-face
Yes.
to do that. I know that like our questionnaires that we give parents and things like that can now be on an online platform. You can
Mm-hmm.
email it, they complete it, it comes back to us scored. Yay, it's super easy to do.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it also costs a pretty penny too.
Of course,
doing that
yeah.
stuff. We're not in the complete by far.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many tests out there, and I'm talking like cognitive IQ tests, academic tests, processing tests, social
Mm-hmm.
emotional tests, like neuropsychological testing, like all that kind of stuff. There's so many kits that are within each of those categories that are not digital.
Okay.
And there are lots of manipulatives within those tests.
Mm-hmm.
So being face to face with the kids is very beneficial because you get to see how they problem solve, even though they may not verbalize it to you because they may not know how. But you can see how they problem solve just by using the manipulatives and things like that. So you really can kind of see how their brain is working, how they're doing things. Do they start backwards with the problem? Do they start in the middle? Are they scatterbrained everywhere? You know, things like that. So we're not in the digital. I mean, we're not in the complete digital sense. I know it's moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big advocate of the digital online testing, but that's just me. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, you caught it.
My little
stress ball. Hey, we know both of you are going through lots of stress right now with this whole crazy thing. It's completely understandable.
But basically what I'm saying is maybe just because I'm sticking to what I've been exposed to and what I've been trained on. But I don't see how the digital and online testing would give us the same kind of information that we so desperately need when we do our evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of what we do is observational, like during testing and in the classroom. And learning the kid as we go, as we can keep working with them.
Exactly. Like that face to face is
So,
very important when it comes
yeah.
to that kind of thing.
So I want to say there's certain avenues where digital
Mhm.
learning is happening. I'm not sure of the online stuff yet,
Yeah.
but it is muddy waters
Yeah.
when it comes to that, because you really start affecting the validity of what you're measuring
Yeah.
for these kids,
Of course. Yeah. I
and
remember when you were going through school in your graduate program, you would use me as a testing as a testing person. And there's little things that you have to do. Yeah. And there's little things that you have to put together, solve, that you would observe. So that observation portion is really important. So, it couldn't be
and you
fully
really
digital.
have to stick to the standardized procedures of these tests. You
Mm-hmm.
have to give the test the same way to all these children.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at a screen and I'm telling the kids to repeat a sequence of words so I can look at that, I can get a
Mm-hmm.
sense of their auditory memory, I don't know if the kids are writing them down
Yeah, exactly.
or
There's a lot of
whatever,
variables.
things like that. So it's like being face to face with the children, you really ensure that you're testing them accordingly. The
Yeah.
validity there, and you're testing what you're supposed to be testing.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly. You
it's a
have.
it's a challenge. It's a challenge
Yeah. Oh,
to know the
definitely.
digits. Yeah.
It's definitely a lot harder too, because if they're using personalized devices, like
Mm-hmm.
for all of us, if I'm talking to you and I have to look directly at the camera in order to talk to you and all this, and then a little notification, I go, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden your focus is gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that
You know,
answer is wrong, and you can't give the question again, depending on
Exactly.
what it is. So there could be a lot of problems with it, that I think, which is the manufacturers and the test developers, that's their
Oh, I
department.
bet they're going nuts right now.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of online and digital stuff could have been used for this, but I just don't see the same benefits, other
Correct.
than, we don't want to overqualify kids. We don't want to put kids in special ed saying they have a disability when they they were distracted during testing because of
Yeah,
whatever's on
exactly.
Instagram or their phone or so. I don't know. It's just it would be interesting for me to learn how this job develops or
Yeah,
changes with what the current situation is.
exactly. At least some kind of emergency preparatory kind of thing, where
yeah.
in the future, they understand these things can happen. And so, maybe this will bring some kind of emergency procedure to be able to at least get some assessments out there, or, what can you do for the children during this time? A little bit more structure during this kind of time.
Yeah.
So, thank you both for coming on this. This was great. I am so happy I did this. This was wonderful. I can't wait to do more in general. During this time, during this, stay at home, all these kinds of things, have you found new passions, interests, things about yourself that you want to carry forward with you and beyond, past this whole pandemic shenanigans? Anything new?
Um, I think I'm growing a human.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something new, and that's definitely something
I'm
the whole
growing a
family's
human.
passionate about.
Yeah. So that's been a learning curve in itself, and
Yeah.
stuff. And she treated me like a punching bag yesterday. That was pretty fun. Um, I
So we
think
have an MMA fighter inside of you. Okay.
oh, yeah. But I think in terms, I didn't, I just kind of took this time to slow down.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot going on in my life where I just needed to stop and really think about my life, how I do things,
Mhm.
things like that, the safety of myself, the safety of my family.
Mhm.
Um, I tried not to think about work too much. Like, I'm just the type that gets overwhelmed when I start thinking about so many things, and
Yeah.
try to problem solve a problem that I don't even know what it's fully developing into,
Yeah,
and
of
all of
course.
that stuff. So
Yeah.
I just really took this time to just stop, meditate, go for walks,
Yes.
really think about things, think about what's important and how to
Hmm.
go about, you know, blossoming those things rather than what I can't control.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that, that's wonderful. I think this time has definitely forced people to stop and take a look at, you know, the bigger picture in all of this, to take care of ourselves during this time and what we want. So,
Yeah.
And I know it's been challenging for, I mean, I'm, my husband and I, it's just us. He's been at work, so I've had a lot of alone time
yeah.
in our home by myself. And then, we don't have any kids yet.
Yeah.
One's on the way, but it's like I like Sabra, I think about you, and I think
Hmm.
about like the four kids and
Yeah.
you, having your own career that has also been put on hold and things
Hmm.
like that. And, you know, it put on hold.
I'll call you, Sabra.
Yeah, you see these?
Yeah, I was like, girl, I need some help. I'm looking at myself in the camera on the stream right now. I'm like, girl,
The,
save me.
the cool part about my career is there is, like, I have two jobs. So, I'm
Yeah.
a mom and all that stuff, but, I'm a teacher. Like, I teach my profession. I teach barbering, I teach cosmetology, and I have the ability to do both. But, online learning, it's kind of hard to teach fading
Yeah.
when you're online.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it, and it's,
Hmm.
my students learn, but there's nothing like that in-person
Of course.
interaction. But for me, it's given me, because I'm always busy. I'm always just
Hmm.
go, 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 go. It's given me perspective, and it's made, this whole thing has made me realize that I don't have to work as hard as I
Oh,
do
there we go.
in order for my kids to live the life that I think that they deserve.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks because you want to take your kids out and you want to be like, we have all this time and we can just go, but we can't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's that. Like, I've told Angie, like, I want to come and visit you, and we're like, no, we're not gonna come and visit. No, we're not. So,
Yeah.
there's that aspect. But, having the ability to think can be both a good thing and a bad thing. It's really easy to get stuck in my own head. It's
Hmm.
really like, this whole thing has given me a sense of awareness that, number one, I'm okay,
Hmm.
but it's okay to not be okay. So I
Yeah.
have my times where I'm not okay, and I'm glad that I have a community to reach out to. Um, we've all had instances where we're not okay,
Yeah.
but we have to figure out ways that we can balance being okay and not being okay,
Yeah.
because it's a lot, and having a lot of responsibility can be really overwhelming. Like, I stay busy, but I'm not so busy that it's too much.
Yeah.
Like, I say it's a lot because it is a lot, and I recognize that, but I have the ability to kind of reset if I have to reset every day.
Hmm.
Like, this whole thing, like, there's a lot going on. We're bringing awareness to, mental instabilities. Like, I know people that are so not okay that they've had to um admit themselves,
Oh, wow.
for
Yeah.
3-day holds. And, I know someone that, you know, she ultimately decided that it was too much for her,
Yeah.
and so I'm dealing a lot with that, because
It's crazy
you think
time.
someone's okay and they're not, and
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So in the midst of all of this, I've been trying to reach out to my friends that are not okay.
Yeah.
I've been trying to my friends have been reaching out to me because of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so we've built a new sense of community, and I can appreciate that.
Definitely.
But also, you have to realize that, you have to be able to take time for yourself and to be able to ask for help and to set healthy boundaries and, figure out what's best for you, which is why I tell all of my mom friends, when you have babies, everyone wants to spoil the babies.
Yeah.
Me personally, I want to spoil the mom.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that
the mom is good. Yeah, exactly.
Good. We got to make sure that mom's good.
I'm the one growing the eyeball here.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
yeah.
I get it. People are real quick to ask. They go, "How are you?" But how are the kids?
Yeah.
Who cares about the kids? They're alive.
Right? Like they're living, they're running around.
We take them outside and they have people who go outside and play. They're fine. Hell, honey. Okay.
Exactly. I totally understand where you're coming from. Thank you again for both of you coming on my first episode of Cognizance. It was really exciting and I can't wait to do the next one. Both of you have a wonderful day. You'll be getting text messages from me, so thank you so much again.
Our pleasure.
My pleasure, our pleasure. It was so great seeing you guys because I miss your face.
I know, I miss you guys too.
It's
so
my best friend.
And we're 500 miles apart.
Well, there will be, yes, exactly. We do what we can. When all this craziness is over, definitely got to play the catch-up game, because this time has definitely shown everyone what is important, and definitely reaching out, being with other people, being with family and friends is very important. So everyone, just keep doing what you're doing. Good luck to both of you. I know, with the start of the school year, it's going to be insane. I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you need me. Please reach out to me if you need anything, okay? Both of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.